Hi, I'm with etrailer. If you have a 2024 Ram 1500 and you want to carry those really heavy e-bikes and you want something that's a little bit lighter to get on the back of your vehicle, then the Inno HD Tire Hold Bike Rack is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. So let's look at how this is fitting back here first. And right off the bat, we have plenty of clearance in between our vehicle and bike. Even if you're on those really bumpy roads, you're not going to make contact. And what's really nice too is this rack has the capacity to carry 80-pound bikes, and we're going to be able to carry 2 of them. Now that is going to reflect in our tilt because we're not going to have a very extreme tilt. And how we do that is if we just pull on this lever here, we can tilt this back some. As you can see, not very impressive, but it should be just enough for us to open up our tailgate. As you can see here, it's going to be really close. And what can happen sometimes is this can jostle around, and you can see our anti-rattle device isn't great for holding this in place, but we're really close, but we're not making contact. Now, if you had to put something extremely heavy on here, it might make contact with your carrier, but even with me putting my body weight on this, we're not making contact. So if you need to load up a lot of gear back here, you're going to have that ability. And once you're done, you put this back up and put this back into the seated position. And how we're going to do that is I'm just going to lift it up in here until it clicks into place. But if we want to take a closer look at this, I'm going to take off my bike. And to do that, I'm going to come over here, press this gray button, press that, and push in on it. Sometimes it might get stuck on the tire. If you just press that again, it should release. There we go. Same thing on the front side. And that's what I like about this one is since we have a dual wheel mount, we're not going to be making any frame contact, which is perfect for those carbon frame, alternative frame, or any bikes with a really nice paint job. Now when we're done with that, we just lift up on here and then take it out for a ride. We can take a closer look at those arms that hold our bike down. And what I like about that is it's really easy to adjust those. So the main purpose of that is to adjust for different wheel sizes. I'll really show you what I mean. I'm just gonna maybe pull this out quick, and then you can adjust it, pushing it in and pulling up on it. But when you're done, you push this in on itself. Make sure you do that on both sides so it's flush. And then next up, we're gonna get a few measurements. Now I'm gonna grab my tape measure so we can get our first measurement, which is gonna be our ground clearance. And we got pretty good ground clearance just from me looking right here. So they give you that exact measurement. That's gonna be about 24 inches, which is really good. You should never make ground contact with this. Now, something else to think about is when you're trying to load those really heavy e-bikes on here, that's gonna be quite a bit of a lift. So I'd recommend maybe investing in a ramp to use with this. There is an Inno option out there. Now, if you don't want to invest in another ramp, you just want something that comes with the ramp, then I'd recommend checking out the Yakima On-Ramp LX Bike Rack. Because what's really nice about that is that ramp's going to be integrated into the design of it. But if you're fine with lifting it up here, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Now, the next measurement I'm going to get is going to be how far it sticks out. That's going to be about 35 inches, which is going to stick out quite a bit for a 2-bike carrier. But if you ever do need to save space and you don't have any bikes on here, you can fold it up. Show you what I mean. Would have 2 spots. So this first spot is going to be at an angle. This is only going to stick out a little bit over 23 inches. I'm going to save us some space, and if you have anything mounted to your tailgate, it's good for that situation. But if you don't have anything mounted there, then you can push it up again and save even more space. And now the furthest point out is only going to be 15 inches. So that's going to be a ton of room saved. We can check out how it's going to fit back here too. And it is going to block a few things. And of course it will block your license plate. That's just going to be the case with most hitch bike racks. Now, if you want something that won't block that, I'd recommend checking out a tailgate pad. What's nice about that is really easy to install, and doesn't block really much of anything back here. But if you want something to carry those really heavy e-bikes, then this is going to be the best bet, because trying to lift up an e-bike up here is not optimal. But we'll also block a lot of your backup camera too, so definitely would stick to using your mirrors instead. And as far as your taillights, that won't be obstructed at all. Now we can look at how this is going to install. So we're going to have this 2-inch shank that's going to go into a 2-inch hitch receiver. We're then going to have an anti-rattle bolt that comes through, and then something to help out with that, we're going to have this plate right here. This plate is going to help us line everything up, so you don't have to worry about trying to line up that pin every time you install this. Something else too, at the very back of this, we're going to have this included tool. This is a lock, so it's going to have extra security so no one can come by and take your rack, and it just kind of installs on top of this larger Allen key. You just pull that over to the side just with your hand, and you can tighten it up. Now I will say it is pretty difficult to tighten up and get a really snug fit. I still get a little bit of rattle from here sometimes, and it really, most of that rattling is just from this pivot point, but sometimes you might get just a tad bit from there. In my opinion though, I think this is a pretty good option if you are trying to get those really heavy e-bikes on here, and you want something that's a little bit lighter to store in your garage, because carrying this around isn't nearly as heavy as some other bike carriers I've seen out there. But again, if you want something that's going to feel a little bit more sturdy and has an included ramp or integrated ramp, then I'd recommend that Yakima on-ramp option, because just overall, just how it feels on here feels a lot more sturdy, and you will have a little bit more clearance between your rack and your tailgate. But it is also going to be more heavy, so if you are taking this on and off constantly, because this is going to add a decent amount of space to the back of your vehicle, then this might be the better option for you. But that's just a look at the Inno Bike Rack on the back of our 2024 Ram 1500. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.